Hi Odooers, and welcome back. In today's video, we'll explore how to manage customer invoices in Odoo. Customer invoices are recorded as journal entries in the sales journal. Each customer invoice has journal items for each income and tax account that are recorded on the credit side, while the receivable account is on the debit side. Let's take a closer look at how this works in our Bloom database. Here in our Odoo database, let's go to the accounting app. And invoices can be created directly from sales orders or manually from the sales journal here in our dashboard. So first, if I click in the journal menu here, we'll take a look at our configuration. And we have a few options here, including the default income account here. And that can be set for the sales journal itself. Now, returning to the dashboard, we're going to click New in our sales journal to create an invoice, and that will be for our friends at Oasis Garden Design. To keep everything organized, we'll add some sections. We'll create one just for our plants, and then within that, we'll use the catalog to add the Japanese maple tree. I think they requested 3 of those, as well as 5 rose bushes. Then let's create an additional supplies section. So we can do that here in the top left. And now that supplies is highlighted, we're going to add the watering can as well as a few bags of potting soil, and we see that they have been added there. We can now go back to the invoice. And as you can see, in the account column here, we have the default income account that is coming from the sales journal. But this account can also be set directly on the invoice line here, or it can be set on the product itself or on the product category. Note that Odoo prioritizes the most specific account settings over more general ones. So if we don't select a specific income account here on the invoice, Odoo will use the account associated with the product. If that field is empty, Odoo will then use the income account linked to the product category. And if that field is also empty, it will use the account set on the sales journal, which is what happened in this case. Here in the Journal Items tab of our invoice, you can see our sections are organized as well. We have one entry for each of our products, all linked to the sales accounts specified in the sales journal. And additionally, there are 2 lines, one for the tax account and another for the receivable account. Those are coming from the product record and the customer record, respectively. At the top of the form, we can see the invoice date field. We can either set it manually, or we can just confirm the invoice to use today's date. In this case, we'll just confirm. Now we have the option to print our invoice if needed, or we can choose to send it directly. So we'll click Send. And we'll select only to send it via email, and then send. You can see the invoice's PDF right here in the chatter, and we can take a larger look at that. All the necessary information is included on the invoice, from the invoice number to the invoice and due dates. And if we scroll down, we can see the total amount is written out in words, as this option has been enabled in the configuration settings under the customer invoices section. To view all our invoices, we can go to the customers menu and select invoices. This view displays a list of all the invoices, including their numbers, customer names, invoice dates, and due dates. We can even customize the information we see by clicking on the additional fields icon over on the right. And for example, we can select tax excluded to view that amount for each invoice. The list also shows whether an invoice has been posted or is still in draft status, as well as its payment status, whether it's partially or fully paid and reconciled, in payment, or not yet paid. Finally, in the invoices list view, we can see that a specific invoice is marked as to review. This happens when an accounting user with limited invoicing access rights, either with invoicing access rights or invoicing in banks access rights, posts an invoice. Only accountants with bookkeeper or administrator access rights are allowed to review these invoices. So I'll go ahead and open it. And since everything looks good, I will click Reviewed. And note that once a posted invoice has been reviewed by an accountant, it cannot be reset by users with only invoicing access. That's all for this video on customer invoices. Stay tuned for our next videos to master Odoo Accounting. This has been your pal Dal. I'll see you in the next one.